And so I'm doing a little reflection, so I want to share a little bit of this with you. So in November 2013, I started brainstorming. I wanted to bring certain things together because I knew that one of the only places I could go and be really honest without judgment was an AA meeting. And then as a psychotherapist, I could sit in a room with these incredibly resilient people, and they could share their story with me, and they were so honest and vulnerable, and I could watch them get better and their lives change. And then I go to this church mosaic where I say it's broken people breaking people. All right? If you think about that, it's really deep. All right? It's just a lot of love. And so I had these three places where I was able to actually be more and more authentic. And how did I bring those together? Because other people didn't have a place to go and just be that vulnerable. And I know that what cures shame is vulnerability, and shame is not of God. And I wanted people to have that experience. And so one morning I was getting ready, I was looking in the mirror, and I know what you're thinking. If you look like me, you stare in the mirror as well. I know, it's hard to pull myself away. I was looking in the mirror, and I just got clarity of all those things, of the honesty of AA, the sharing of AA, the intense sharing that happens in psychotherapy, and being in a church where people are allowed to be real, to bring all that together and to do it in a TED Talks format. And so part of what was so symbolic for me is that I was looking in the mirror. And see, I don't look in the mirror anymore and see who the world says I am. I don't look in the mirror anymore and see the pain of what my mother did to me. I don't see what my abusers did to me. I see Christ in me. That's the reflection. And so I wanted to really use that of I see you. I see you for who you are, and you're more than good enough right where you are no matter where. And so that's part of how the talk, icuTalks came to be, and the name of icuTalks was originated. And so myself and other people brainstormed, we put all this together, and we got started at a restaurant and bar called Harvey's in January of 2014. So y'all know how I feel about restaurants and bars. All right, I'm not great with either. And so we put that together, and we made our first icuTalks, January 2014. And I remember standing in front of everybody, and I put these on. All right, sexy. And I asked people, I need everyone to look at this new ministry through the lens of grace, because we didn't know what we were doing. We just knew we wanted to do something really special and different. And so people really gave us grace, and they did that. And all of a sudden, we had all these volunteers want to be a part of what we were doing. And so if you're here tonight and you are a regular volunteer, will you stand up? Can we just acknowledge you if you're a volunteer for us? Absolutely. Can we give them a hand? So thank you all so much. Y'all are doing so much work behind the scenes. And I want to acknowledge Debbie Thompson and Carol and Willow, who's out there, that they have been volunteers from day one, and they're still here. So that means they're tough people, really, really resilient people. So thank y'all for, right? Because really think about it. It was hard to believe in our mission. We didn't know what we were doing. People were just believing in Jesus and that he was here and showing up. And so people kept coming. So I'm so grateful for all volunteers. And so then we kept doing it, and then we got to come and be a part of Mosaic. And I want to tell y'all that it's amazing to be part of a church that welcomes a mental health ministry. Absolutely. You know, so many churches, and I won't stop speaking until this changes, that if you're depressed, tell you to pray more. That if you have anxiety, they tell you that you lack faith, and there's nothing biblical about that. And that we're a part of a church that says you're allowed to come in here and be a drug addict, be anything. We don't want you to stay there, but we'll help you get somewhere else, and just telling you, instead of saying that you don't know what you're doing, and if you just pray more. That is not God's message. And so grateful to now we've got volunteers, and we got a place, and we got a production team, and we got all these things happening, and we're evolving. But we're getting these amazing amazing speakers. And I feel like in the beginning we had to beg a little because it's kind of hard to explain, like, hey, we're like TED Talks, but it's not like TED Talks. We keep Jesus in the middle. But speakers kept coming. And there was so many stories about how we got and obtained our speakers. And I want to share a story with you. There's a woman, she's my absolute best friend, and most of you don't know her. She's a physician assistant. So unless you go to Central Church of God, like Matt does, or she's your doctor, you won't know who she is, or if she's your neighbor, you might know her. But she's one of my best friends, and she's amazing, and she's just an awesome Christian woman. And so she's helped us get great people because she's a doctor. Like, she helped us get Scott Chadansky, and she also connected us with Kristen Seaford, who is just amazing, amazing stories, right? So 2 weeks ago, I was meeting with a woman, and we were talking about her fear of death. And that she's had this abnormal, irrational fear of death since she was a little girl. And we've been working through that therapeutically, and that she had reached a different point. God had brought a joy into that for her. And she now was at a point that was just a normal fear. She was just curious about what was going to happen. So I left that conversation 2 weeks ago. And then this person I saw was my absolute best friend, this woman that's a doctor. And she said, hey, I just had a really cool experience. And she said she went to the at-home store, which I need y'all to know that's a really dumb name for a store. Because you have to explain, no, I'm at home. I left my home. I went to a store. It's just stupid name. I hope it closes down. But anyway, ridiculous. Get a marketing team, people. So she said she was at the at-home store, and this older man, hit her buggy with his buggy, so she gave him a hard time and joked with him about it. And he said, hey, sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. He said, hey, let me tell you about Jesus. And so he didn't know who she was, didn't know anything about her, started talking about Jesus and sharing with her. He said, you don't know this, but I have a brace underneath my pants. And I've had 5 aneurysms, and one time I had an aneurysm, I was on the surgery table, and I died. And he explained graphically what happened in heaven when he met Jesus, and how Jesus sent him back to earth. And he told Jesus, now that I'm back, I'm going to tell everybody about you. I will no longer have shame. I will no longer be scared of the gospel. I'm going to tell everybody. So he's sharing this with my best friend. Now, he has no idea that she, too, has a brace underneath her leg from an injury, and that she's a doctor, and everything that he is saying about his aneurysms that she's following. He also doesn't know that she loves the Lord. He doesn't care. He's just sharing his story. So she shares it with me, and I know I'm having that moment again where God's hand is all over this. Because she said, I don't know why I was there. I hate that store. There's nothing there. And so she's like, I don't know why I was there. And so I said, well, I do. I know why you were there. icuTalks. What's his name? She was like, I didn't get his name. I just know he loves Jesus. I said, where's he go to church? So she knew that. So I went on Facebook, which is the best social network and the best way to get your news and information in life, right? So I went on Facebook and said, hey, I got to find this dude. Within 48 hours, that man called me. His name is Ken Carter, and he is going to come and start being a part of icuTalks family. My goal is to have him speak with Heather Bice. As we all know, had a horrific tragedy in her life of losing her son, to speak so beautifully and openly about that. So I'm looking forward to the day in 2017 where they are both on this stage, all right? So that's how we've gotten our speakers. It's always amazing stories.